Let's test your prior knowledge of lockout tagout. Number 1, what are some of the various types of energy that need to be considered during lockout tagout? Number 2, who's responsible for lockout tagout policies? And number 3, employees trained in lockout tagout are known as competent employees. True or false? Hi, I'm Dan Morgan, DTMB's Health and Safety Coordinator. Today, we're going to talk about lockout tagout. We're in the Michigan State Police Headquarters facility, and today we'll be showing examples on applying lockout tagout equipment on the Michigan Public Safety Communications Systems Engineering Laboratory equipment, which is similar to a communications tower shelter. We'd like to thank the MPSCS for allowing us to utilize this area for this video. So, why lockout tagout requirements? Well, lockout tagout requirements are required under the Michigan Occupational Safety and Health Act standards. But mainly, lockout requirements save lives and prevent injury. As machinery and equipment become more complex to operate and to service, installation and service personnel are provided with greater safeguards on proper lockout procedures. Also, unexpected machinery movement or energy release is prevented. So, who's responsible for such a policy? The answer is everyone. However, management must establish and enforce 2 following important items. Number 1 is an energy control program, and number 2 is machine-specific lockout control procedures. These procedures must be documented so all personnel are aware and comply with them. Management shall train authorized employees in the function of the energy control program and make sure that they have the knowledge and skills required for safe application, usage, and removal of energy control devices. Management must train affected employees in the purpose and the use of the energy control procedure. All other employees whose work operations are in the area or where energy control procedures may be utilized shall be instructed about the procedures and about the prohibition related to attempts to restart or re-energize machinery. Let's answer a few questions. Is there more than one type of lockout system? Yes, there are several, although electrical disconnects are typically thought of as your primary. There should also be lockout provisions, though, for compressed air, hydraulics, and steam valves. What is the purpose of a lockout for the energy sources? Well, we want to prevent from causing injury from unexpected motion or energy release. Now, another question. May tags be used instead of locks? Well, under the General Industry Part 85 standard of MIOSHA, the control of hazardous energy sources does not allow the use of tags under certain conditions. However, if you were only covered by one of the specific standards that require locks, then tags can't be used. But MIOSHA does not recommend the use of tags alone. Tags are too easy to be removed or to have dual meanings. Tags should never be substituted where locks are required. Too many times they're ignored and not entirely clear in meaning to everybody. So, another question. What are the proper procedures to follow? Well, because lockout procedures differ depending on the type of machines or equipment, specific policies must be established for each company. The more complex an operation, the more expanded the procedure should be. Now, let's discuss some specifics regarding the MIOSHA General Industry Safety and Health Division Standard Part 40, which is electrical safety-related work practices, and Part 85, the control of hazardous energy sources. What is machine-specific lockout? Well, machine-specific lockout, it's a component of the employer's total energy control program. General Industry Safety Standard Part 85 requires that the employer is responsible to provide employee training, the appropriate equipment, periodic inspection, and machine-specific lockout energy control procedures as part of their energy control program. A machine-specific procedure is documented by step-by-step instructions used to provide energy control information to the employees. The information, when used by trained or otherwise known as authorized employees, protects the authorized employee and other employees in the area from injury by machine, equipment, or process during repair, maintenance, and associated activities. The purpose of the machine-specific lockout procedure is to provide employees protection by isolating the equipment from all energy sources and render it inoperative. Machine-specific lockout does not include cord and plug machines, or where equipment only has one source of energy controlled by simply unplugging the equipment. In addition, the plug must be under the exclusive control of the employee performing the work. So, what if we have a written procedure in place and it applies to all machines, just one procedure? Is that really good enough? Well, the answer is it could be if all the machines and the equipment in your facility have the same magnitude and sources of energy, absolutely identical locations to apply lockout devices, and the identical steps needed to verify energy isolation. Then yes, one written procedure may be adequate. If the machines and equipment in our facilities are not all the same, the procedures will need to address each machine or the place of equipment in the facility. The procedure must be specific. So, another question. What kind of written procedure is required? Well, a machine-specific procedure is an easy-to-follow document that illustrates accurate step-by-step instructions for controlling energy on a specific machine or a piece of equipment. The procedure may have photos or graphics as well as text. The procedure will provide information for control of all the various energy sources for that particular machine or equipment, and it could be electrical, could be pneumatic, mechanical, hydraulic, chemical, thermal, and others, including gravity. The detail of the procedure must be sufficient to prevent employee injury from any movement or unexpected release of stored energy. So, how does the procedure have to be specific? Well, the machine-specific procedure must outline the scope, the purpose, the authorization, the rules, and techniques for utilizing lockout, as well as be specific enough that the instructions used to control energy sources and verification of energy isolation is clearly understood by all the authorized employees performing the work. It is critical to begin with an assessment of the potential hazardous energy sources in the equipment or machine, and we need to look at what are the types of energies that are present. Where does the energy enter into the machine? What's the magnitude of the energy? Can the machine or equipment store energy? In what sequence does the energy need to be isolated? And what device is required or needed to lock out the energy? Where is it applied? And how is energy isolation verified once you have locked it out? And when do you notify affected employees of the lockout? A clearly stated machine-specific lockout procedure is essential, and there's a variety of ways to document machine-specific procedures. Some firms use color coding and identifying the various energy sources to unlock or the unlock location. A photograph with a text box and arrows, similar to what we have for our equipment, that show the identified lockout points, or a combination of color coding and graphics that identify the energy sources. There are firms out there that create machine-specific lockout procedures for other companies. So, how do we know if the machine-specific lockout procedure is good enough? Well, really the proof is in the performance of the procedure by the authorized employee. The periodic inspection performed, at least annually, by the employer is an opportunity to evaluate the energy control program on several different levels. It ensures accountability in a procedure. It assesses the procedure for accuracy on a yearly basis. It evaluates the employee's training by observing their ability to achieve zero energy state in the machines that they work on. And it gives the opportunity to retrain employees who deviate from the procedure or show inadequacies in the performance of the procedures. Now, let's do a brief summary and talk about what we've learned today. Remember, everyone is responsible for lockout tagout. And as an employer, we should have a good hazardous energy control plan. It's really important to have a machine-specific lockout tagout procedure and ensure that they're easily understood and give great guidance on locking out all hazardous energy sources. Remember, an authorized employee is one who has had training in lockout tagout and understands the need, the uses, and the hazards associated with working on equipment. Remember, lockout tagout saves a life. And till next time, DTMB Health and Safety Services, making safety easy. After watching the video, let's review the answers to our earlier questions. Number 1, what are some of the various types of energy that need to be considered during lockout tagout? Answers are electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, pneumatic, chemical, thermal, gravity, and other various types of stored energy. Number 2, who's responsible for lockout tagout policies? The answer, everyone. However, management must establish and enforce an energy control program and have specific energy control procedures. Question number 3. Employees trained in lockout tagout are known as competent employees. True or false? The answer, false. There are authorized employees, and then there are affected employees. The authorized employees do the work, lock out the equipment, and affected employees are employees who may be in the area where lockout tagout procedures are used.